today is how to stay optimistic. And maybe you're a very optimistic person by nature, and so perhaps it's a little easier for you to dip into that optimism pool and spread it around a little bit. But maybe that's not your nature, or maybe it's your nature, but not right now, because things are pretty challenging around the world right now in lots of different ways. And I was thinking I made a little list of the things that help keep me optimistic. And I thought maybe you guys could put in the chat box things that make you help you stay optimistic. So here are the things that I wrote down. So first, staying in the moment, using the breath and my yoga practice to help me be present in this moment, helps me to not get overwhelmed by what's going to happen in the future or what kind of, what's coming down the pike. So being in the moment. Nature, being in nature. And that doesn't have to be, taking an epic road trip around to all the national parks. It can be as simple as looking up at the birds in the sky, or following the tiniest little creatures that you observe in your garden, or taking walks down your block. Doesn't matter. So, touching with nature as often as you can. Gratitude practices, whether they're official, like journaling gratitudes, or just thinking gratitudes, or being appreciative moment by moment of the sun that's shining today after the clouds that we've had, or the health of your body, any type of gratitudes that you have. The next one that helps me is being in service to others. When I find myself stepping out of myself and focusing on other people, this also helps me to stay very much in a state of optimism. So Ruth just said listening to music that I really like. That's a great one to help stay optimistic. Next one I wrote was exercise. Keeping my body moving helps me to stimulate those natural endorphins that keep me happy. Spending time with optimistic people, whether it's, making a phone call to someone who is kind of cheery by nature. Self-care. Lori wrote, whoa, there's more coming in, so let me see if I can read them. Lori wrote, working at a food pantry every week, and all the things that I said already. Leah said, connection with others, both those close to me and strangers. Those are all really great things. And one of the others that I wrote down was letting emotions flow through you. So when you do feel like things are not optimistic, to not ignore that sensation in your body, but to be present for that as well, and let it flow and move through you, so that you're not holding and stagnating. And then lastly, I wrote making a choice. That sometimes it just comes down to making a choice that I'm gonna try to see some good in a bad situation, or I'm going to do some good for a bad situation, and make it better. So if anybody has any others, feel free to throw them in the chat box. But that's a whole lot of stuff, right, to help keep us optimistic. So if you tend to be struggling right now, find the silver linings. That's another one. If you are struggling, and I know so many people are struggling right now with just the whole world, right? What are the things that you can cultivate that are tangible things that you can cultivate to keep you going? Okay. All right, so your yoga practice is one of them. So let's close our eyes and sit up straight and tall. Take a moment to let go of your thinking mind and come into your body. Drop weight. See what it feels like to settle into a deep, grounded posture. Connect to the earth. Let your belly come in deeply. Remember those long, steady exhales. Find your way into that sense of dropping, letting go, dropping down. And that could mean, for me, that often means my diaphragm needs to let go. So can you let go through your diaphragm and find that sense that the lungs have all this room, the belly has all this room for movement? Can you feel the breath traveling to the pelvic floor? Are you able to open the diaphragms of your body, your vocal cords, your actual diaphragm, your pelvic floor, receiving your breath? Can the exhale be something that you give Slow and steady. Can there be a sense of ease at the very end of your exhale? When you put your focus so resolutely on observing the breath, there's not much room for all the extraneous thought, kind of crowds out some of the past and future thinking and brings you into the state of now. So notice something that's really good right now, whether it's the feeling of the sun on your face or the feeling of the ease of your breath, feeling of connection to all the other people who are doing yoga with you right now, even through a silly thing like a computer. Relax your face, melt in, see what's able to let go. Scan to find your classic tension patterns. And then as you're ready, place your palms at your heart. Bow in and offer an intention for this sense of cultivating joy, optimism, presence within you, whatever it is that you need. All right, let's go ahead and release the hands and come on to our back. All right, so find your way. And as you lie down, just enjoy the fact that you're on the floor. Okay? This can be enjoyable too. So just let your body rest in that horizontal plane. Feel your spine spread out a bit. Deep inhale, deep long exhale. And when you're ready, stretch your legs, stretch your arms, feel the extension through your body. Stretch the right side, stretch the left side. Enjoy this. If there's pain somewhere, like if your shoulders can't lift over your head, just find a comfortable place to be so you can really enjoy what the body feels like as it begins to open and awaken. Okay. Let's go ahead and bring the knees into the chest and circle a few times. So you can rock from side to side or have some circles in your knees or both happening simultaneously. Just get into the feeling of your sacrum, what it's feeling like today. Circle the other direction. All right, and then right knee into the chest, left leg long on the floor. Wiggle around your toes and swirl your ankles and feel the compression in the hip joint. Give it a good squeeze right in your knee and in your hip. Just befriend your joints in your lower body. And then let's change sides. Left knee into the chest, right leg is long on the floor. Feel some wiggles through your toes. Feel some openness through your feet, the bottom of your feet, all the bones getting broad and wide. And then we're going to move through this just back and forth a little bit. So bringing the left knee in, then bringing the right knee in, just starting to wake up the hip flexors a little bit, wake up the core just a little bit. Find your breath. All right, and then pause with both knees coming in. Feel the nice feeling across your back. Hopefully it's a nice feeling. And then let's pull the knees apart and bring them back in. Just finding that swing and sway where the hip joints get to be loose and free a little bit. And then find a spot that you want to stay. So it can be anywhere. Maybe your knee's really close in, maybe your knee's really far away. But just find a spot that you want to hang out in for a moment. Lengthen the spine, open the breath up. And then come back to center. Spread your arms and legs wide and long on the floor. Stretch from your center body out to your edges. Feel your breath come in, hold your breath and squeeze all your muscles. Feel whatever you can have access to, have a little squeeze. And then as you exhale, go ahead and bring the knees into the chest. Rock a little bit. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, pick up your head, squeeze your face.
Squeeze out all your air. Hold your out breath and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then relax and take this more gently. Opening navel to your edges. Exhale, closing your edges back in toward your navel. One more time. Feeling the wide open space. Exhale, drawing in. Release your feet onto the floor. Arms out to the side like a T. And let's start windshield wipering our knees. Just waking up the hips, the back a little bit. Feel the rim of the hip bones open. Find your breath. Start to loosen up your back. All right, and then let's go ahead and roll over onto our side and come up onto your hands and your knees. So as you find cat-cows, take your time. Notice what your spine is capable of today. You know, maybe you've already done some movement and so your spine is a little bit more lubricated than if maybe you haven't moved much at all today and feeling like you're a little stiff. So just whatever you're finding, just loosen your spine up as best as you can in this moment. And then after a few rounds of just moving through cats and cows, start to wiggle things around. So you can swirl through your shoulders, move through your hips, find whatever you're going to find. Feel free to sway your hips off to one side, maybe off to the other side, whatever's working for you. And then stretch back towards child's pose. Decide how deeply into the hip flexion feels best for your back. So it might have a little anterior tip of the pelvis as you come back toward child's pose. Bring your arms into a comfortable place. So that could mean that they have to be down at your sides. That could mean that they're up. So wherever you're going to go, take a breath here, finding the inhales, finding the exhales. Enjoy the breath, such a simple thing to stay present with. Walk the hands over to the left side of your mat, feeling the right side body open. Let your practice be about simplicity, just feeling pleasure in your body. Let go of goals or expectations that there's, you know, a purpose or a result that comes. Just be in this moment. Walk the hands over to the other side. Feel a sense of space through that side of the rib cage. Open the breath there. Relax your skull. Find your tension places and let them go. Find your breath over and over. Just keep accessing the awareness of the breath. And then come back to center. Come up onto all fours. And let's find our way into a twist. Reach the right arm up. Exhale and slide that shoulder down. Feel the sense of moving the shoulders away from the ears. Open the breath up a little bit. Feel the back body create some breath. And then inhale, reaching that arm all the way to the sky. Place that hand down onto the ground and change sides. The ways we warm up regularly, do you enjoy the routine of a warm up, of kind of letting your body find all sorts of nooks and crannies to pay attention to be present within, to breathe into, breathe some life into? Great, and then inhale, lift that arm to the sky, place the hands down onto the ground, dog pose. As you come up, feel free to move things around. You can pedal your feet, you can knead your feet on the floor, lifting one and then the other. Feel free to wiggle out the toes, get onto the toes, whatever feels really nice. As you start to open up your feet, travel upward through your legs. Maybe stretch your heel a little further down to awaken the calves. Feel the sit bones lift to awaken the hamstrings. A little inner spiral of the thighs. Feel the femur bones move back. How does the belly feel? Can you let the belly be soft, receiving? Feel the invigoration of your shoulders. Hug toward the midline with your hands. Feel the stability through the upper core of your body, through your torso. Let the jaw go. Let the eyes go. Melt the skin on your face. Find the full body pose through yielding. So what does it feel like to give to the earth and then push off the earth, to find that rebound. Are your knees soft? Are your elbows soft? And then walk your feet forward and come into Uttanasana. Fold, grab your elbows and just have a little teeny bit of a tug so that your rib cage extends away from the pelvis, the spine lengthens. Bobble your head around, let things be soft. The knees can bend as much as you want. Inhale for a halfway lift. Put your hands where you want them to be, thighs, shins, or blocks. And then exhale and melt back down. Fold in half. Soften your knees, soften your skull. Try again, halfway lift, legs and spine straighten, breath comes in full. Exhale and melt back down. Feel the bootstraps around your arches lift up toward the femur bones. One more time, a halfway lift. Hang out here for a moment. Thigh bones back, shin bones forward, shoulders away from the ears. Feel the length of your spine, wherever your hands ended up on blocks or legs. And then exhale and melt. Again, push off your feet, roll up or press up, however you like to get upward, reaching the arms to the sky. Lean back a little bit, open to a slight back bend, feel the chest broaden, lift your heart. And exhale and round and tuck your chin toward your chest. Take your feet a little wider than your hips and let's start to swing. Just let the shoulders open, feel the movement of twisting in your spine, the freedom, let the hips move with the spine. So pick up your opposite hip and turn it. Are you breathing? Let your spine become more free. And then come back to center. Inhale, big wide circles with your arms. So find that sense of opening your arms up. Maybe your circles aren't this big because your shoulders have some challenges wherever you go. And then next time you come to it, arms out, cactus your arms and lift your chest. Hug the rhomboids toward the spine. Exhale and round in, the shoulder blades spread apart. Rise up, reaching the arms to the sky. Exhale and fold, bend your knees. Release the spine and then come into a half lift again. Big breath in, exhale and melt down. Step your left foot back. Your right foot is coming forward. Come to a lunge. And get yourself situated. Let your legs find where they need to be. And then let's start moving through some range of motion with our hamstrings. So squaring the hips, tucking the chin, the leg straightens a bit. Coming forward back into a lunge. And feel free to pick up your toes when you straighten that front leg. Feel free to keep your foot on the ground. What's feeling good in your body? Don't forget that you're stretching the hip flexors of the back leg and the hamstrings of the front leg. So enjoy both. All right, come into a lunge. Find your breath. We're going to take some range of motion in the shoulders here. Big wide open twist. Exhale on the downswing of the clock with your arm. Inhale on the upswing of the clock. Keep lifting your back thigh up in the air. So try not to let the pelvis do too much turning. So now we're trying to really work with the thoracic spine opening. All right, and then the next time you get to that place, and your hand can be on the block too, we're going to stay into a twist. Shoulders are moving away from the ears. Lift the back thigh. Find the breath coming on the exhales. Make the twist happen. Shoulders are away from the ears. Exhale and release the hand down onto the ground. Step back to a plank. Hold steady. Find that sense of stability through the core of your body. Shoulders are away from the ears. You can always come onto your forearms if your wrists are unhappy being on the floor. Deep breath in and away. All right, let's lower ourselves down. You can always put your knees down first if it feels good. Stabilize your lower body, legs into the floor, pelvis. Open the chest. Exhale and come back down. So coming up to cobra pose and back down. Feel your core stabilize you. So try not to overdo the arch in your low back. This last one, hands are coming off the floor. So you won't go very far up, but see if you can feel the shoulder blades move down. Hug the bottom tips of the shoulder blades toward the spine. Find the breath. Lots of strength in the back of your body. Exhale and melt back down. Come up onto your hands and your knees. And feel free to move some things around. So loosen up your back. Cat-cow, a swivel from side to side, whatever feels really good in the body. Maybe your wrists need a little support and you need to swivel those around. When you're ready, find your way back to dog pose. Lengthen through your spine here. Feel the symmetry of the posture, the inversion. Let the head melt. Feel that sense of the breath being your primary focus. Let's bring our foot forward the opposite. So left foot comes forward. Find a lunge on this side. Adjust to any place you need to be for stability. You can have your hands on blocks, and then let's start to move. Squaring the hips, drawing the chin down, maybe the toes come up. As you bend your knee, let your chest come forward and the collarbones spread. Don't worry about straightening your leg all the way. It's more important to just find where your range of motion lives. Do you like to move fast through the movement? Do you like to move slow through the movement? What do you enjoy about your yoga practice? What do you enjoy about your yoga practice at home? So finding those silver linings. What do you love about practicing in your house? All right, let's find some twisting here. So hand either on a block or on the floor. You choose how you're going to be. Our left arm is going to lift into some big circles. Let's try to keep the right thigh lifting toward the sky. Hug into the midline with your inner thighs. Keep that left hip hugging in toward the midline as well. Feel this in your thoracic spine. Open some things up. You might make your breath be a part of this. Inhale on the upswing. Exhale on the downswing. The next time you get up there, hang out in a twist. Shoulder blades away from the ears. Keep lifting the back thigh. Hug your left hip in. Use your exhales to twist. Keep the long spine growing. Stay grounded through your front big toe mound. And then exhale and release your hand down. Walk your back foot forward. Come into Uttanasana. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. Push off your feet. Rise up, reaching the arms to the sky. You can always put a block between your thighs for a chair pose if you prefer to have a block, or you can just do chair pose regularly. Take a deep breath in, exhale, and come into your chair. Decide where you want your arms to be. So, you can do so many choices of keeping your body safe and stable. Remember to find the breath before anything else. If you're using a block like I am, notice the stability that it gives your knees. Take weight back into the heels, find your breath. Long, steady exhales. If you can, lift your arms up. If not, stay where you are. We're going to twist to each side. Exhale, turning to the side. Inhale, coming back up. Going the other way. Hips and knees are staying to the front. Let's do each side twice. So come back up. Deep breath. Exhale to the first side. Knees stay together. Inhale, come back. Exhale to the opposite side. Rising back up. Sit in your chair, heels are weighted. And then rise up. Open your chest. Lean back. Find the breath. Exhale and fold forward. Maybe you want to keep the block. Find your breath in, find your breath out. Step back to a plank. Maybe you're keeping the block, maybe you're not. Stabilize toward the midline. Find the shoulders away from the ears. Take some deep breaths in, some deep breaths out. Okay. Let's go ahead and take the block out if we're using it. Come down onto the floor. Deep breaths here. This time we're going to take our arms out like a cactus. If that's not happy for you, arms can be out to the sides. Find the position, the vector that feels nice for your shoulders. We're going to take a deep breath in. When we exhale, lift up. Stabilize between the shoulder blades and the core. Marry them to each other. Feel the shoulder blades tips move toward the midline. Find the breath. And then exhale and lower yourself back down. Come up onto all fours. Take a moment before coming back towards child's pose to just sway from side to side or do some cat-cow or some circles. And then exhale and bring yourself up to dog pose or back to child's pose, however you like to transition. Deep breath in, long exhales. Feel the symmetry, close your eyes. Feel the yielding of your hands and your feet. Rebound through your body, all the way through to your spine. All right, let's lift the right leg up. Stack your right hip over the left. Give to the left side of your body. So lift onto your left armpit. Take your left thigh bone back. Find a deep breath into the right hip. Square the hips here. Take another deep breath in. Stretch that foot back. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale, knee to nose. Feel the squeezing in. Inhale, bring it back. Now we get to place our foot forward. Come into a lunge. Take your time to find the placement of your feet. Shoulders are away from the ears. When you're ready, we're going to come up to crescent lunge. So bring the arms wherever you want them to be. They can be down, they can be up, they can be out. So wherever is comfortable for you, feel the chest broaden and open. No matter what you're doing with your arms, can you take the tips of the shoulder blades a bit toward each other? Integrate the core to that so that you're not overdoing a thoracic arch. Feel the chest rise no matter what you're doing with your arms. Exhale, place your hands down onto the ground, back foot comes forward. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. Step your other foot back. Come to a lunge. Find your breath. Shoulders are away from the ears. Seek the midline with your inner thighs, magnetize toward the middle. When you're ready, rise up, crescent lunge on this side. Finding the breath, put your arms wherever is comfortable. So even if your arms are down, you can still move the shoulder blades toward each other. And if that makes your ribs pop out, just integrate the core so that you find support from front and back of your body. Deep breaths here, no matter what you're choosing with the arms. Find the hugging to the midline with your legs. Find the breath, spread out the bones of your feet, yield a bit. All right, and then we're gonna bring our hands down. Lift your legs straight back, three-legged dog. Lifting that leg high in the air. Exhale, knee to nose. Bring the leg back. One more time. Full breath out, knee to your chest. Inhale, bring that leg back. Stack your hip over the other hip. Breathe into the rim of the hip bone. Lift to your right armpit. Lift your right femur bone. Finding the breath, engage your glutes in the air so that you're not just hanging there with your leg. Great, and then square the hips. Put your foot back down onto the ground. Find your breath. Inhale, come forward into a plank. Feel the strength of your center body. Hug toward the midline with your hands. Imagine a block between your thighs. Keep your chest rolling forward so we're not collapsing our chest up into our body, but lifting it forward. Then put your knees down and slowly come to the floor. Put your right forearm out in front of you, and we're going to reach back and grab our left foot. So stretching the quads a bit. Tailbone moves toward the back edge of your mat, pubic bone lifts. Try not to turn and open up toward the left side. See if you can keep your left leg grounded as it's lifting. Finding the breath. And then let's switch sides. We're gonna bring our left forearm in front of us. Grab onto your right foot. You can always use a strap. So if you can't reach your foot, wrap a strap around your foot or grab your pants. I have ripped pants that way before, so be careful. Tailbone toward the knees, pubic bone lifting toward the belly button. Find the chest broadening, but not so much. You know, you don't want to do a huge back bend here. We're really just trying to open our quadriceps. Find your breath. And then relax. Come back out of there. Come up on tall fours. Finding some swivels, some sways. You are more than likely going to need a block, maybe two. We're going to come into Virasana. So sit. I'm sitting on a block like this, but you might sit on a block like this, or you might have two blocks stacked up like this. Okay, sit in between your heels. Find the breath. Don't worry, we're going to stand up again. Just have a little moment of letting the thigh bones compress. And if your knees are allowing this, if your knees are not allowing this, just keep stacking everything you can underneath you until you're at a height where you're comfortable. Okay? And if you just give up the ghost because your knee flexion is not there, stand up. Okay? We're going to press our thighs for a moment to help lift our chest. And then when you're ready, interlace your fingers, press your palms out, and lift your arms up in the air. See what you can do to not push your pelvis way forward. Have a neutral pelvis. So it might mean that you need to descend the tailbone a little bit more. It might mean that you're real rounded back and you need to anterior tilt the pelvis. So find neutral pelvis. Stretch up through your sides. Find your breath. And then exhale and relax. Interlace the opposite way. So weird fingers. Find your breath. Go the road less traveled inside the pathways of your body. Breathe deeply. Notice if you're pushing your ribs forward. See if you can integrate the ribs, integrate the shoulder blades, integrate the core, integrate the thigh bones moving down and the neutral pelvis. And then relax. Come on out of there. Curl your toes under and come right up to dog pose. Feel free to move your block out of the way. Extend through the spine. Deep breath in and out. Inhale, lift your right leg up in the air, engage your glutes. Exhale, swing your right foot forward to a lunge. Have your blocks close by. Come on up to crescent lunge. Find the breath again. Reach on up. Exhale, bring your hands to rest on the blocks and come up into half splits. So your leg in the air is active. Engage your hamstrings and your glutes. Have the knee you're standing on be a little soft. Extend the legs, extend the spine. Take a deep breath here. And then exhale. One more time, we're going to curl in on ourselves. Find that knee behind the knee. See what it might feel like to have a balanced posture here. Maybe your hands come together, maybe they're out. Maybe you just take one hand off the block. Spread out the bones of your feet, no matter what you're doing. Now, if you're really feeling strong, try to stretch all the way up to Virabhadrasana 3 here. If that's not working for you, hands back onto the blocks, back into 3 or into half splits. Exhale, step way back to crescent lunge again. Rise up, arms to the sky. Walk your back foot forward. Give that thigh a bit of a break, your hip a bit of a break. Palms come to your heart. Find your breath in. Find your breath out. Inhale, reaching the arms to the sky. Open things up. Exhale and float forward. Halfway lift. Melt back down. Step your right foot back. Your left foot is forward in a lunge. Come up to crescent lunge once you're stable. Reaching the arms to the sky or out or anywhere you want them to be. Can you feel that your chest can broaden and open and be supported by the back body? Check in with your curves in your spine and make sure you're not overarching anywhere. Are you stable through your center body? All right, let's bring our hands back down onto the ground. The spine grows. Find your breath. We're going to hop up onto that left foot. Bring your blocks forward. Stretch that leg in the air. Now, your balance may not be as good on one side versus the other, so just notice. See if you can integrate the floor, feel the floor ground, feel the spine, feel your breath. When you're ready, let's go ahead and tuck your knee behind your knee. Feel a squat, a one-legged chair, find your breath. Maybe your hands can come out to the sides or palms together. Maybe your hands need to stay on the blocks. Maybe one hand comes off the block. So find what you're finding. And then as you're ready, either put your hands back down and come up into half splits, or if you're feeling like you have some balance, you can, fly around a little bit and find your way into Virabhadrasana 3. Arms go where you want them to be. What's helping your balance best? And then when you're ready, a big step back to a crescent lunge again. Plant that foot down. Enjoy your feet on the floor. Open the chest. Exhale and bring your hands down to the ground. A plank again. Find your stable place. So enjoy the integration, the 4 points of contact. Even though this is a strenuous posture, can you feel how integrating it is? Feel the breath. And then put your knees down onto the ground and let's lie on our belly. Find your breath in, find your breath out. Bring your tailbone toward the back edge of your mat, the pubic bone toward the navel. And notice when you do this, are you just squeezing your buttocks together? See if you can have some integration in the front of your body. So the hip flexors and the deep transverse abdominis share, instead of just the glutes doing the work of tucking your tailbone. So try to avoid the tail tuck. Find your breath. We're going to lift everything up. If you tend to be a tail tucker, take your legs wider. Sometimes this helps your glutes work in a fashion that doesn't just squeeze toward the midline. Find the breath. Open your heart. And then exhale and come back down. Pick up your feet and windshield wiper left and right. Turn your head one way or the other. Finding the breath in and the breath out. Okay, let's come back up one more time, taking whatever kind of posture feels really good in your back and in your shoulders and in your hips. Breathing here. We're going to bring our right foot forward, come into a lunge, but this time our knee is going to stay down onto the ground. Bring our hands up onto our knee and climb up. Now, of course, we're stretching the hip flexors. See if your quadriceps have something to offer to this pose as well. So if you want to put your left hand down onto the ground and reach back with your right hand and grab your left foot, that's an option. Maybe you'd rather stay and just lift your arm up. Maybe you want to get off your knee and come to stand and stretch your quad like this. So make a choice that's best for your joints, not just your knee joint, but your back too. So find what posture is working for you. Finding the breath. All right, and then we're going to release that. Curl your toe back under and turn to the long edge of your mat. Find your inner thighs opening a little bit. Relax the head down. Deep breaths here. We'll get to the other side in just a moment. Come on up when you're ready. Haven't done anything to externally rotate our hips. So let's just take a moment in some skandasana. Reach the arms out, or maybe you want to bring the arms up. So find what's working for you. Get into the depth of your hip joints. Let there be movement from left to right. No matter what you're choosing to do with your upper body, see if you can stay grounded in the lower body. And then pause for a moment. Squat wide. Bring your hands onto your knees. Let your hips drop. And then lift your chest and come into any variation of goddess pose that feels good. Spin your feet, toes turn out, heels in. Feel the yielding, the grounding. Open your chest. Root your feet. Deep breaths in and away. And then stretch up. Open your chest. Heel toe your feet. Come a little closer. Walk to the front of your mat. Come back to dog pose. Come to rest on your knees for a moment. Find the breath. Cat-cow. Now we're going to bring our right foot forward and our left foot. Oh wait, did we just do that side? Do the opposite side. Okay, so left foot forward, right foot back. Now this might be your choice. Maybe your hands are on your knee and you're lifting one arm up. Maybe you're standing up and stretching your quadricep on that side. So whatever posture you're doing, see if you can find the same, even if your body's different, find the same pose as the opposite side. Drop the shoulders, keep the spine growing. Find the midline. Find your breath. All right, let's go ahead and come out of there. Come back into Virasana. Grab blocks or more blocks, whatever you need. Find your chest. We're going to lift your sternum, open the heart. Deep breath in and away. All right, so depending on how high up you are, because you might be on multiple blocks, so this might be difficult, we're going to lean back and put our hands on the floor. Draw the tailbone toward the knees, so we're just stretching both thighs at the same time now. Open the chest, tailbone toward the knees, pubic bone toward the navel. Press your shins into the floor. All right, come back up, come off of the block. Bring your arms out in front of you, dog pose. Now, if you were skipping that pose because of your knees, just enjoy the legs straight. So everybody enjoy just straightening the backs of your knees, stretching the backs of your knees. And then last time we're going to come to a plank. Hold steady here. Deep breath in, deep exhale. Find your breath over and over. Just keep finding the breath. And then we're going to lower ourselves down to the ground. We're going to take any variation of Dhanurasana that you want. So maybe you're going to grab your feet and come into a full Dhanurasana. Maybe that's not good for your knees. So you're going to come into a variation of a back bend that's working for you. So as you come into any posture that feels good, keep your knees in line with your hips. Find those shoulder blades hugging toward the spine. Use your core. Keep the back of the neck long. Breathe. This is so good for your diaphragm, to have some pressure against it, to make it work hard. Find the breath. Feel the pelvis stabilize. Feel the work in the thoracic spine. And then melt and surrender whatever posture you're doing. Turn your head the other way if you turned it the other way before. Spin your feet left and right. All right, come up onto all fours. Feel some swivels, feel some sways. Now you can transition to stand up however you want to transition. Maybe you want to go back to dog pose. Maybe you just want to step your feet forward and come up to stand. So however your body is guiding you upright, come up to stand. All right, let's close our eyes for a moment in Tadasana. Just feel your roots. Feel your sense of stability. Find your breath. It's done a little bit of balance already, so just a little bit more feedback into the balance system of the body. Root your body into the right foot. Drop in. Pick up your left knee, grab your left foot, and bring it behind you. Reach the right arm up in the air. And you can always do this holding on to something or leaning toward a wall and put your hand on a wall. However your balance is needing to be supported today. Open the chest, tip forward, come into dancer. I know last week, I think it was last week, we did it very differently. So let's find just the neutral, without having to lift our arms up. See what it feels like to have a little bit more ease in this posture. Give that ease to your balance. Root into your foot. Keep the hips square. And then come on up and place your foot down onto the ground. When you're ready, let's come to the other side. So grab onto your right foot now. We're standing on our left foot. Reach the arm up in the air, finding the breath. When you're ready, kick your foot into your hand. Find the square. So try not to let your hip or shoulders open to the side. Keep things square as you can. Bend the knee you're standing on so you're not hyperextending. It doesn't have to be deeply bent. And notice when you bend your knee, you have to work harder in your hamstrings and your glutes. All right. And then unwind that pose. And if balance poses are hard for you, shake it off. You know, if you get trapped up inside control and a sense of I must succeed, goal-oriented, let all that slough off of you now. Fall into the earth a bit. Release your knees, deepen your breath. Inhale, reach the arms, open the chest one more time, a big chest opener. And exhale, and fold in half. Let the knees relax. Grab onto your elbows, bobble around your head, let the base of your skull surrender. Feel free to swivel, bounce, sway. Make sure you're breathing. Okay, let's go ahead and bring our knees down toward the floor and come to pigeon pose. So we're going to, now you don't have to do pigeon pose, you can do reverse pigeon pose. Take your left foot forward if you're in pigeon pose, or bring your left foot on top of your right shin if you're in reverse pigeon pose. Extending the spine. Hip work sneaks in there every which way in our yoga practice. Most everything we do when we're standing requires a lot of hip strength. So just let your hips open now. What can you do to surrender here? Is there a capacity for letting go that you can find? Maybe your face, your neck, your jaw, your shoulders, your hands. Whatever you're easily able to let go of, let that teach the rest of your body how to surrender. Supporting your head can be really nice. Finding the breath over and over. All right, let's go ahead and come upright. Swing that right leg around. Okay. If you're in reverse pigeon pose, just switch your legs, or maybe you're choosing reverse on one side, pigeon on the other. So however you're choosing this pose. Remember, if you need support, you can always put a blanket underneath your sit bone. You can straddle it underneath your left thigh and your right sit bone. So however you need to support yourself, blocks underneath your head, blankets underneath your legs or hips, just find what you need. If you're in reverse pigeon pose, try experimenting with widening the sit bones and having your tailbone sink toward the floor, a little nutation of the sacrum, so that the top of our sacrum lifts, the bottom of our tailbone drops, neutral lumbar curve. And you can even do that in pigeon pose. What would it feel like to widen the sit bones and unleash the tailbone from its compression toward the floor? Whatever you're doing, breathe, follow the breath. Is your upper body able to relax? Is your diaphragm able to melt? Let's come back up out of the pose. If you're in reverse pigeon pose, roll over onto your side and sit up. And well, everybody come to sit. You might want a blanket for this. We're going to come into Bhujangasana. So move your feet off to the left. You can stick your right sit bone on the edge of a blanket. So I'm resting the arch of my bottom foot the top of my top foot is resting in the arch of my bottom foot. Knees stay in line with your hips instead of splaying way out. Use the hand behind you to support you. Lift your arm in the air, bring your hand to the outside of the knee, palm up or down. Drop the oppositional hip. So your right hip is sinking, the chest is lifting. Breathe into the twist. All right, and come back to center. Switch sides. So if you're using a prop, just move it off to the other side. Let the top foot, the ankle, front of the ankle, rest in the arch of the bottom foot. Square the hips as best as you can. So if you don't have a blanket, you often end up like this where your one hip's hiked up. So see if you can drop that hip down so there's a sense of balance. Use your hand behind you to support you. Reach that arm in the air. Bring your hand either palm down or palm up, whatever's working for you, into the twist. In this pose, you often want to push our rib cage forward. See if you can integrate the ribs back into the body so we're not pinching our low back. Drop weight down into that sit bone. Broaden across your collarbones. You can still be moving the shoulder blades toward each other without a pinch, without a grip. Deep breath in and away. And notice if this pose feels very different one side versus the other. I have one side where I feel a strong stretch in my obliques on one side and not so much when I turn the other side. So maybe you're noticing something unusual where you have something going on one side and not the other. And then exhale and relax to come back. Okay. Unwind your your legs. Okay. Sit on the edge of the blanket. The soles of the feet are coming together, but we're not bringing our feet really close in. We're going to bring our feet a little further away from us. The soles of the feet are together, so we create like a box in between our feet, square, triangle, whatever shape you're finding. Lift the spine, heart is extending. Place your elbows on your knees. So it's okay to let the spine just ever so slightly round. You don't want to push the pelvis back and let the lumbar spine push out. Try not to jelly donut your vertebrae like that. You don't want your discs pushing out backwards. So find neutral, but also just let a little bit of softness come in where you bow your head and melt the heart just a bit. The elbows compress into the knees to give a little bit more opening to the hips. How is your breath here? All right, come back up and bring your knees in. Feet are on the floor and around. We're going to find our way onto the ground. Bring our knees to our chest and rock a little bit left and right. One more time, find the breath. If it feels comfortable, come into happy baby pose. It may not feel comfortable. You might not like this pose. So just if you're not comfortable grabbing onto your feet, just grab onto your shins. Feel free to rock a little bit left and right. Just let your spine neutralize, soften. All right, and then put your feet on the floor and let your body find neutral for just a couple of breaths before we transition to Shavasana. And think about Shavasana for a moment. Do you want support underneath your knees? Okay, so be prepared for that if the answer is yes. But before we do that, let's just relax. Maybe even grab a block. Grab a block, stick it between your thighs for a moment, and be so subtle. holding the block, just enough to not let the block flop out. And just feel the sense of integration into the midline. Deep breath into the pelvis, the torso, the spine. And then we're going to find our way. Now, if and it's making me think of this with the block there, you can always grab a strap and wrap the strap around your thighs, tighten the strap around your thighs with a block between your thighs for Shavasana. There's a fancy way of doing this that I won't get into right now, but if you feel the need to have your thighs strapped in, that's one way. You can use blocks, blankets, a combination of blocks and blankets for underneath your legs. Sometimes having support feels good, sometimes lying flat feels good. So you decide how you want to enter your restful state. So whatever you're doing, whatever you're choosing to do, take some time to let the body melt, to feel that sense of surrender. Start in your spine. Let the spine drop into the earth. Feel the weight of your pelvis, this deep heaviness of your legs. You have heavy bones in your hips and legs, so let that heaviness drop. Find your breath. Let your shoulders release into the floor. Scan from crown downward, melting as you go. The eyebrows, the forehead, the skull bones. Melt your eyes themselves. Feel the temples, the jaw, deep inside your ears. And the base of the skull. Connect the base of the skull to the base of the tongue. Feel both surrender. And just travel down to your shoulders, your neck, melting everything. Your limbs, your arms are heavy, palms are soft. And the spine and the ribs melt, the belly relaxes. And the deep weight of the legs. Fullness of your breathing.
Let's begin to deepen our breathing again. And as you do so, enjoy the moment of breathing. Just stay present with what your body and breath feel like. Start to move in any way that serves you. So it can be small movements, small little rubbing your thumbs across your fingers or turning your head from side to side. Maybe you prefer really big movements of stretching, a full body stretch, and then knees to chest. So however you like to transition, see if you can find your way onto your side. As you're ready, take your time. There's no rush. This is one of the joys of being in your own home. You could stay in Shavasana for another half hour if you want to. As you